I do have some more sound effects. Okay, so let's go through the sound effects. We have the old ones, which are that's a sword fight. Hold on. We have what was it before? Oh, we had this one. We have this. These are punches. We have this. I think this is like a church bell for when there are deaths. And then watch out for this. I don't know what we're going to use that for, but we're going to use it. All right. I think we're ready. I'm going to switch. What? Actually, let's do a recap, okay? Recap of last week. What happened last week? I have notes because I am a professional. So last week, the second brother, whose name is Lao de Noir, he went to the Qincheng sword school, right? And he figured out that they were practicing the evil resisting sword art, which is Lin Pingzhi's family's martial arts. And now, so they also reintroduced to us that there's a mystery in this story, that the evil resisting sword art, it used to be really powerful, right? It used to be a really powerful martial arts, but now it kind of sucks, right? And the family, it's the family's martial arts, and it was passed down for 2 generations. But then, as it was passed down, we don't know why, but it sucks now. It used to be really good, now it sucks. And then, remember, Lin Pingzhi was in the restaurant listening to all these people talk, and then all of a sudden, these nuns come barging in, and they accuse Ling Huchong, who is the eldest brother of the Huashan sword school. The nuns accuse him of kidnapping one of their nuns, one of their really young nuns, and making her drink wine with him and another guy who turns out to be a rapist, right? This guy named Tian Boguang. So then they all go to the Liu residence, which is the residence of the guy who's going to do the hand washing ceremony because he wants to leave the martial arts world. And there they meet all of these guys, all of these these really good martial artists, right? All people in the higher ups. And they're talking about Ling Huchong, the eldest brother. And they're talking about how he's so bad. He kidnapped one of the nuns, and he's gallivanting with this rapist, right? And then in the middle of it, we find out that they bring 2 bodies into the chambers, right? One body was a dead body, and the other one was he's almost dead, all right, but he's someone from the Taishan school. And he says that Ling Huchong, remember that eldest brother, attacked them, okay? And then we find out that the guy who died, that second body, the guy who died, had a sword, and the sword is the sword of Ling Huchong. It has his name on it, right? What's weird about that is that why would you kill a guy and then leave your sword, right? It seems kind of suspicious. And then while they were talking about that, and then all of a sudden, Yi Lin, the nun that was supposedly kidnapped, comes in. Right? Yi Lin comes in. And that's where we stopped last time. And I'm going to change to the live screen because I suck at that. All right, every time I forget to switch to the live screen, to the text, that means one shot. Okay, we're gonna do one shot. One mistake equals one shot. This is Tennessee whiskey. But we're gonna save all the shots for the end. Hopefully I don't make any mistakes. But we'll save it all for the end, because I think if you drink it during the live stream or during reading, it's not. It dries my throat, so it's really hard to read. Yeah, so that's the recap. How's that? Is that good? Nazara says, dude, where do you get your sound effects from? Oh, from places. A lot of places. There are a lot of places that have free sound effects, so. Oh, Ella plays YouTube. You have to sleep? I'm sorry. Go to sleep. Orava song. Orava? Is it Orava or is it Orava? Orava song. Hi, I'm late. Sorry. You're not late. You're just in time. Hey, Wolfie, what's up? Alicia. Hey. All right, are we ready? Are we ready? So remember, last time he's here, but suddenly his thoughts were interrupted by Yilin's voice. So Yilin is that nun who was supposedly kidnapped. Okay, and apparently she's very young, and she's a nun in the Hangshang Sword School. Let's do this. Uncle Master Yu, this move of Big Brother Ling Hu's is not part of the Huashan sword art. Yu Kanghai turned around, his face an icy mask. Sister, listen to the words of your respectful apprentice. What did she call this villain? I have ears of my own, and I don't need you to point things out to me, Ding Yi replied angrily. She had heard Yilin refer to Ling Hu Chong as Big Brother Ling Hu, and was already angry about it. So why are they angry about it? So it's a little thing in Chinese and in a lot of Asian languages, I think. When you call someone Big Brother means Big Brother, but it's also something you say to, say, a lover, right? A male lover, you also call him brother, right? It's not weird. It sounds weird in English, but I promise you, it's in Chinese. It's not weird, right? So yeah, you call your male boyfriend, male lover, big brother, and you call your female lover little sister. Okay, so but that's not the only thing. So you can call them that, but you can also call someone who's really close to you, like big brother or little sister, right? Either way, but that means you're really close, right? And she's a nun. So they're like, why is a nun using this very close term to refer to Ling Hu Chong? So, if Yu Kanghai had spoken one moment later, she would have delivered a stern rebuke to Yilin. But since Yu Kanghai spoke first, especially in such an impolite manner, she instead defended her apprentice. The words just slipped out of her mouth. What's the big deal? Our 5 mountain sword schools are joined into one alliance. Apprentices from any sword school of the 5 mountains are naturally fellow apprentices. What's so strange about that? Well, Yu Kanghai laughed mockingly as he gathered his energy from his lower abdomen and then projected the energy from his left palm to push Lao Dunois away. Lao Dunois flew back and struck his back against the wall. Dirt and debris dropped from the ceiling from the impact. Remember, Lao Dunois is the second brother of the Huashan Sword School. You think you are so innocent? Why have you been tailing me all this way? What are you up to? Yu Kanghai snapped. After the shove and the impact, Lao Dunois felt as if his organs were turned upside down. He leaned against the wall and tried his best not to collapse. His knees were so weak that the only thing he wanted to do was to sit down on the floor. After hearing Yu Kanghai's words, he groaned inwardly. So when little apprentice sister and I were spying on them, this crafty little crook had already known. Yilin, come with me. Tell me exactly how they seized you, Ding Yi said as she pulled Yilin by the hand and walked toward the door. Everyone knew only too well that if such a beautiful little nun fell into the hands of an evil rapist like Tianbo Guang, it would be nearly impossible for her to maintain her virginity. The whole story, of course, would not be appropriate to be revealed in front of other people. Obviously, Sister Ding Yi was going to take her somewhere private and then ask about the details. Swiftly, Yu Kanghai rushed to the doorway and blocked their way. This incident involves 2 lives, little sister Yilin. Please, stay right here to tell the story, he demanded. He paused a second and then continued. Nephew apprentice Qi Baicheng was a member of the 5 Mountains Sword Alliance. In your alliance, all are fellow apprentices. Thus, maybe the Taishan Sword School does not really mind that Ling Huchong killed Qi. But my apprentice, Luo Rangjie, did not have the honor of calling Ling Huchong an apprentice brother. Ding Yi was a very forceful woman. Normally, even her big senior sister, Ding Jing, or the headmaster of the Hangshang Sword School, senior sister Ding Qian, would give way to her. How could she let Yu Kanghai block her way with such impunity? Upon hearing these words, she raised her eyebrows immediately. Liu Zhengfeng, this is the guy who's going to leave the martial arts world, had long known of Sister Ding Yi's hot temper. When he saw Ding Yi raise her eyebrows, he knew she was ready to strike. Yu Kanghai and Ding Yi were both first-class masters in the martial world. If they started a fight, things would get really out of hand. So he rushed forward and bowed deeply. Hey, it's Renzo Flutes. He's here. Oh my god. Is he going to play a song? Are you going to play a song, Renzo? Anuradha Chala says more effects. That's all I have. What's a good effect now? I want to laugh. Brother Brand, good morning. Both of you have given me great honor by being my respectful guests here at my ceremony. For the sake of that, please do not damage the spirit of that goodwill. It is all my fault that I did not serve my guests well. I beg your pardon. He kept bowing to both Ding Yi and Yu Kanghai. Sister Ding Yi let out a dry smile. Master Liu, you really have a good sense of humor. I am only angry at this bull nose. Bull nose? Let's look at what bull nose means. Bull nose is a mean name for Taoist priest, so she just insulted him. That's another insult in our arsenal. We have a son of a turtle and bull nose. They haven't been using son of a turtle in a while. It has nothing to do with you. Because he doesn't allow me to leave, I leave to spite him. If he doesn't block my way, then it is possible for me to stay. Yu Kanghai had some degree of respect for Sister Ding Yi's fighting skills and didn't have total confidence in his ability to beat her in a fight. In addition, although her senior apprentice sister Ding Xian had an amiable nature, it was well known that her kung fu skills were much greater. Even if he could win the fight today, her senior apprentice sister surely wouldn't let it go that easily. And once he offended Hangshang Sword School, there would be no end of trouble. So he also forced a dry smile. So remember, Yu Kanghai is the master of the Qincheng Sword School. Okay, he's separate from the 5 Mountains Sword Alliance. So he doesn't want to. Who doesn't want to fight with them? All I want is for a little sister, Yilin, to tell us the truth about what happened. Yu Kanghai dare not block the Hangshang White Cloud Nunnery Master's way. After these words, he moved back to his seat. It's good you know that, Sister Ding Yi said. She held Yilin's hand and walked back to her seat as well. What on earth happened after the day we lost you? She asked Yilin, afraid that Yilin was young and inexperienced. She might tell something that would disgrace both herself and the Hangshang Sword School. She hurriedly added, just tell the necessary parts. If it is irrelevant, we don't need to know. Yes, master, Yilin answered. I haven't done anything against the instructions from the senior masters, but Tianbo Guang, the villain, he... I got it, Ding Yi nodded. You don't have to say another word now. I know everything. I will definitely slay the two villains, Tianbo Guang and Ling Huchong, to assuage your anger. Yilin looked at Ding Yi in surprise with her crystal clear eyes. Big brother Ling Hu? She uttered. He... Tears began to fall from her beautiful eyes. In a choking voice, she said, He is already dead. Everyone in the room was stunned by the news. Priest Tiaman's anger immediately vanished. How did he die? Who killed him? He asked in a loud voice. How did he die? Who killed him? He asked in a loud voice. It was this Qingcheng villain. Yilin pointed at the body of Luo Ranjie. Okay. So she's saying that that guy actually killed. So I guess they killed each other. Yu Kanghai could not help feeling proud. So the scoundrel Ling Huchong was killed by Ranjie. And then they ended in mutual annihilation, he thought. Good. Ranjie, the boy, I knew he had guts. He didn't disgrace the fame of my Qincheng Sword School. So all members of your Five Mountains Sword Alliance are the good guys, and all people of my Qincheng Sword School are bad guys? He glared at Yilin and sneered. Tears kept falling from her eyes. Yilin said, I don't know about that. I am not talking about you, Uncle Master Yu. I am only talking about him. She pointed at Luo Renjie's body again. What are you scaring the child for? Yilin barked at Yu Kanghai. Ding Yi barked at Yu Kanghai. Yilin, don't be afraid. Tell us why he was the bad guy. Your master is here. Nobody will dare to give you any trouble. She gave a glare back at Yu Kanghai. Buddhists do not lie. Little sister, are you willing to give a vow in the name of Buddha? Yu Kanghai demanded. He was afraid that Yilin would speak at Ding Yi's instigation and would describe Lu Renjie's behavior as something intolerable. Since this apprentice of his had already perished along with Ling Huchong, there would be no testimony from another quarter. Everybody would have statements from a single party. I dare not ever lie to my master, Yilin said. She knelt down facing the outside, put her palms together, lowered her head, and intoned, Apprentice Yilin is reporting to her master and the other uncle masters. So remember, uncle masters mean kind of like the next generation. So your master's peers, right? And the other uncle masters, she dares not speak untruth. She dares not speak untruth. The Buddha has great powers and will verify her words. Everyone could sense the sincerity in her words, so all became well disposed toward her. A scholarly, black-bearded, middle-aged man had been listening by the side quietly from the beginning. He interrupted Yilin and said, The little sister had already vowed. Of course, we will believe her words. Did you hear that, Bull Nose? Even Mr. Wen agrees. She will speak the truth, Ling Yi said. She knew the man's surname was Wen, and everybody called him Mr. Wen, or Mr. Wen. Mr. Wen. But she had no idea what his first name was. She only knew that he was from southern Shaanxi province and was famous for his kung fu with a pair of judge's pens. He was a master at pressure points. So this dude, Mr. Wen, fights with judge's pens. You know what those are? They're like calligraphy brushes, but they're metal. Let's look it up. Here you go. Judge's pens. So we have a guy who fights with these, which is pretty cool. Hi, Yu Hin Tam. Welcome back. What is up? Amanda is reciting our insults for us. 1 is son of a turtle, 2 is bull nose. Top Usi says this is a great story. I agree. It's one of my favorites. Everyone's eyes turned to Yilin's face. Her glorious face brightened the entire room like a brilliant pearl or a piece of beautiful jade in its purity and flawlessness. Even Yu Kanghai thought to himself, this little nun probably won't tell a lie. Yeah, because that's how it works. Attractive people don't tell lies. Silence befell the room while all waited for Yilin to start. Yesterday afternoon, Yilin started, I was following my master and my apprentice sisters heading to the town of Hangyang. In the middle of the trip, it started to rain. As we went down the valley, I slipped and caught my fall with my hand on the rocks, so they were covered with mud and moss. After we descended into the valley, I went to a stream to wash my hands. Suddenly, beside my shadow in the stream, appeared the shadow of a man. I was so startled that I stood up immediately. Then I felt a pain in my back. He had already sealed my pressure points. So sealing your pressure points, remember everyone has pressure points or meridian points. And if you seal them in a particular way, or if you seal them, you seal the right ones, you have certain effects, right? So one of the effects is to freeze your body. So that's what happened to her. I was very scared and wanted to call my master to come and help me, but it was already too late. Because of the sealed pressure points, I could not let out a sound. The man picked me up and walked about 10 or 20 yards, then put me inside a cave. I was scared to death, yet couldn't move an inch or make a sound. After quite a while, I heard the 3 senior apprentice sisters calling me in 3 different places. Yilin, 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 where are you? That man just grinned and whispered to me, if they come here, I'll catch every one of them. The 3 apprentice sisters looked for me everywhere and went in other directions. After quite a while, hearing that my 3 apprentice sisters had gone far away, he released my pressure points. I immediately ran toward the opening of the cave, but this man moved a lot faster than I could and had already blocked the way. I ended up running into his chest. That man burst into laughter. You think you can run away? He said. I hurriedly jumped backwards, pulled out my longsword, and was ready to plunge it into him. But then I thought that since this man did not hurt me at all, and we Buddhists should always be merciful to others, there was no reason for me to hurt him. Killing is the first prohibition for Buddhists, so I didn't thrust the sword. Normally, Buddhists can't kill people. At least without provocation. Why are you blocking my way? I asked. If you don't move aside, I'll have to thrust and cut you. The man just grinned. He said, little sister, you really have a kind heart. You just can't bear to kill me, can you? I don't have any score to settle with you. Why should I kill you? I said. That's great. Why don't we sit down and have a chat? He suggested. My master and my apprentice sisters are looking for me, and anyway, my master does not allow me to just speak with any man, I exclaimed. But you already have, he said. So what's the difference between a couple times more or less? Move aside. Don't you know that my master is very tough? If she had seen you behaving like this, she probably would have broken both your legs, I said. The man replied, if you want to break my legs, go ahead. But your master, she's too old. I couldn't stomach it. This is a little hard to read because she's telling the story, but then she's doing the voices too. So I have to switch back and forth between the voices. What's up, Titus? How's it going? Titus says, I'm so good at talking like a girl. Thanks. I have a lot of practice. Bonnie, what is up, Bonnie? Where am I? Nonsense! You even remembered all this rubbish? Ling Yi yelled. Many people could not help laughing inwardly. But for the sake of Sister Ding Yi, nobody dared let out a smile. All tried to keep looking serious. But he did say that, Yilin insisted earnestly. Okay. These types of words are not really related to the story that you are telling, so don't mention them anymore. Just talk about how you met Ling Hu Chong of the Huashan Sword School, Ding Yi instructed. She's very annoyed. Yes, master. The man kept talking and just wouldn't let me out, and said that I was very pretty and he wanted to sleep. He wanted me to sleep. Stop, Ding Yi yelled. You kids don't think when you speak. How can you talk about such things? It was he who said that. I did not agree, and I did not sleep. Yilin tried to explain. Shut up, Ding Yi yelled even louder. The Qincheng apprentice who had carried the body of Luo Ranjie in could not control himself anymore and let out a laugh. Ding Yi was infuriated. She picked up a teacup from the table with a flourish and flung the contents of the cup at him. She used the inner energy of the Hangshang Sword School when she flung the tea. It shot through the air fast and accurate. The apprentice couldn't move aside in time, and the hot liquid splashed squarely on his face. He cried out loud from the burning pain. Your apprentice can talk about it, but my apprentice can't laugh at it? How unreasonable, Yu Kanghai complained angrily. Sister Ding Yi looked at Yu Kanghai out from the corner of her eyes. Hangshang Ding Yi has been unreasonable for many decades, haven't you heard? She held the empty teacup and was ready to throw it at Yu Kanghai. Yu Kanghai didn't look at her, and even turned his body away from her. Seeing Yu Kanghai show so much confidence in himself, and knowing the good kung fu skills of the Qincheng master, Ding Yi did not want to start any trouble. So she put the teacup down slowly and said to Yilin, Go on with the story. Don't be so wordy with things that have nothing to do with the important facts. Yes, master, said Yilin. I tried to get out of the cave, but that man kept blocking my way and wouldn't let me pass. Seeing the sky become darker and darker, I was very worried and finally thrust my sword toward him. Master, I dare not violate the killing prohibition. I did not really want to kill him. I just wanted to scare him away. I used a move called Golden Pins Solve the Troubles, but he extended his left arm and grabbed at my body. I was astounded, so I dodged to the side and he snatched the sword right out of my hand. That man's kung fu skills were remarkable. He held the hilt of the sword with his right hand and the tip of the sword using his thumb and index finger of his left hand. Then he just gently bent it, and with a crisp crack, the tip of the sword broke off about an inch. He broke off about an inch of the sword tip, Ding Yi repeated. Yes, Yilin affirmed. Ding Yi and Priest Tianmen looked at each other, both thinking of the same thing. If Tian Boguang had only broken off the sword from the middle, it would be nothing special. But he broke an inch off the tip of the steel sword with just 2 fingers. The strength in his fingers must have been tremendous. Priest Tianmen drew a sword by an apprentice's waist and also held the tip of the sword with the thumb and index finger of his left hand. He bent it slightly, and with a cracking sound, he broke about an inch off the tip. Like this? He asked. Yes, Yilin answered. So Uncle Master knows how to do it too. Priest Tianmen gave a snort and shoved the broken sword back in the apprentice's sheath. He struck the table with his left hand. The inch of broken sword tip sunk into the table like an inlay. Poor guy, he just broke his sword for no reason. Uncle Master, you really have marvelous skills. I guess the villain Tian Boguang probably doesn't know how to do that, Yilin said cheerfully. But then her face turned pale and she lowered her head. With a gentle sigh, she said, but Uncle Master, you weren't there at the time. Otherwise, Big Brother Ling Hu wouldn't have been wounded so badly. What do you mean wounded badly? Didn't you say that he was already dead? Priest Tianmen asked. That's right. If Big Brother Ling Hu wasn't wounded so badly, he wouldn't have been murdered by the Qincheng villain, Luo Ranjie, Yilin said remorsefully. Hearing her mentioning of Tian Boguang as a villain, and also calling his apprentice a villain, putting the apprentice of Qincheng in the same breath as the notorious rapist, Yu Kanghai could not help letting out another grunt. Seeing tears rolling from Yilin's pretty eyes, and that she was on the verge of tears, no one wanted to ask further regarding Ling Hu Chong's fate. Priest Tianmen, Liu Chengfeng, Mr. Wen, and He Sanqi all all couldn't help but feel sympathy for her and would have patted her on the back or the head to comfort her if she weren't a nun. All right, so we find out that Ling Huchong, the eldest brother of the Huashang school, may not be dead. May or may not, right? Oh wait, no. She said no, you're right. She said he is dead. So he was injured really badly, and then he was killed by that Qincheng student Luo Ran Jie. Dun, dun, dun. Nikki says Linfamy should animate this one day. This is really hard to animate. Amanda says we need tea throwing noises. What are tea throwing noises? How do you do that? All right, guys. Why not? Let's take a 3-minute break. Let me get some water. I'll play a song in the meantime. Nikki says, all we need is someone to volunteer to have Linfamy throw hot tea in their face. That's probably what he or she would sound like. Anyways, all right, 3 minutes. 3 minutes. All right, I'm back. Amanda says, I think she said never give up like a fire. What does that mean? How do you give up like a fire? So would you guys like some lo-fi music in the background as I'm reading? Like not too loud, not too like interrupty. Just some lo-fi music. Let me know. I would have to find some non-copyrighted music to do that. Just playing really low in the background. I love how Yuhin Tom hates this music whenever I play it. That's the reason I play it. Okay, it's a no from everyone. Got it. No music in the background. It's like a unanimous no. There's no one who likes music. Amanda Wong says this is already music to me. That's really sweet. All right. No music for now. Where are we? Where are we? Almost forgot to change to the text there. That was almost one shot. I think we're here. Yulin wiped her tears with her sleeves and continued with the story in a sobbing voice. The villain Tianbo Guang was pushing me around and began to tear at my clothes. I tried to hit him with my hands, but he caught both of them. Right at that moment, somebody suddenly began to laugh loudly. Ha ha ha! He laughed 3 times, and then after a short pause, another 3 times. Who is that? Tianbo Guang asked in a stern voice. The man outside just kept laughing. You'd better get lost fast, Tianbo Guang warned him. Making Mr. Tian angry might cost you your life. The man answered with another 3 laughs. Tianbo Guang tried to ignore him and continued to tear off my clothes while the man outside just laughed again and again. Every time the man laughed, Tianbo Guang got a bit angrier. I really hoped that the man would come to rescue me, but he knew how tough Tianbo Guang was and dared not come into the cave and just kept laughing outside. Tianbo Guang began to pour out streams of abuse. He sealed my pressure points again and rushed out of the cave, but the man had already hidden himself. After a while, Tianbo Guang still could not find him, so he came back into the cave again. As soon as he was about to reach me, the man outside of the cave began laughing again. I thought it was quite interesting and could not help laughing myself. Sister Dingyi gave her a hard stare and remonstrated. You were at the moment between life and death, and you still found the time to laugh? Yilin's face turned a little bit red. True, I knew I shouldn't have laughed, but at that moment, I don't know why, I just did. Tianbo Guang lowered his body and crept back into the opening of the cave, ready to rush out if the man outside gave out another laugh, but he was quite alert and didn't make a sound. Tianbo Guang walked slowly toward the opening, step by step. I figured it would be really bad if the man were caught, so when I saw that Tianbo Guang was about to rush out, I shouted, Look out, he is coming out! The man laughed 3 laughs from a distance and said, Thanks a lot, but he won't be able to keep up with me. His Qinggong skills are not too good. Everyone couldn't help thinking. So Qinggong is, remember, it's Kung Fu where it's lightness Kung Fu or lightness technique where you can run really fast or you can jump really high, things like that. So this Tianbo Guang, he's really fast, right? That's one of his signature, that's what he's known for in the martial arts world, being really fast. Everyone couldn't help thinking, Tianbo Guang's nickname is 10,000 Miles Loner. He enjoys great fame in the martial world with his outstanding Qinggong skills. Now, someone comes along and says his Qinggong skills are not too good. He must have intentionally said it to irritate Tianbo Guang. Yilin continued, The villain Tianbo Guang suddenly turned around and gave my face a hard pinch. I screamed in pain. Then he ran out of the cave and shouted, Damn punk, let's see whose Qinggong is better. But he was tricked. The man had been hiding by the opening of the cave, and as soon as Tianbo Guang rushed out, he sneaked in. Don't worry, I am here to save you. Which of your pressure points were sealed? He whispered to me. My right shoulder and my back, I said. It seemed to be the Jiang point and Dazhu point. Who are you? Let me open up your sealed points first, he said, and then started massaging my Jiang and Dazhui points. Dazhui points. Perhaps I didn't tell him the right points. Although he tried very hard, he still couldn't release my points. We heard Tianbo Guang's shouting coming back towards us, so I said, You'd better run away quickly. If he sees you, when he comes back, he will kill you. He replied, 5 mountain sorter lines, the same route, different branches. When an apprentice's sister is in trouble, how can I not try to help? Does he belong to the 5 mountain sorter lines? Dingyi asked. Master, he is Linghu Chong, big brother Linghu. Dingyi, Priest Tiamen, Yu Kanghai, Hu Sanqi, Mr. Wen, and Liu Jiangfeng all said, Oh, and nodded. Lao Denois let out a long breath. Some people had already figured out that this man might be Linghu Chong, but no one was very sure until Yilin confirmed it. So this is where Linghu Chong saves her. Yilin went on with the story. Hearing Tianbo Guang's shouting getting closer and closer, big brother Linghu said, Pardon me. Then he carried me out of the cave and hid inside the high grass. Right after we hid ourselves, Tianbo Guang ran into the cave. He could not find me and became real angry, so he began swearing and saying lots of bad words. I didn't quite understand what he was saying. She's young. He picked up I think she's 16. He picked up my broken sword and started slashing wildly at the high grass. Luckily, it was raining that night and there was no light from either the moon or the stars, so he could not see us. But he figured that we could not have gone far and must have been somewhere nearby, so he kept chopping and slashing. Once the sword was so close to me that it went only a few inches above my head. He chopped and swore and walked around randomly. I suddenly felt some warm drops of liquid fall on my face, and at that same time I smelled blood. I was quite startled and asked in whisper, Are you wounded? Big brother Big Brother Linghu covered my mouth with his hand. After a long while, when we heard the sound of chopping grass going further and further away, he whispered back, "No problem," and then took his hand away from my mouth, but the warm blood just kept dripping onto my face. You're badly wounded. We've got to stop the bleeding," I said. "I have heavenly connecting glue." "Don't speak," he ordered. He'll find where we are if we move." And then he covered his mouth, his wound with his hand. After a while, Tianbo Guang ran back. "Ha ha, so here you are. I can see you. Stand up," he shouted. Hearing his words, I could only groan inwardly. I was ready to stand up, but I simply could not move my legs. "You were tricked. Tianbo Guang was trying to fool you. He didn't see you at all," Sister Ling Yi cried. "That's right, Master. How did you know? You weren't there at that time," Yilin asked in surprise. "Was that so hard to guess?" Ling Yi explained. If he had really seen you, he would have come over and killed Ling Huchong with a single chop. Why bother shouting out loud? So the lad Ling Huchong was naive too. Yilin shook her head. "No, Big Brother Ling Chu thought of that as well. He immediately covered my mouth with his hand, afraid that I would scream. Tianbo Guang shouted for a while and did not hear any response, so he went slashing some more grass. Big Brother Linghu waited until Tianbo Guang went far away. Then he whispered to me, 'Apprentice sister, if we can last another half an hour, when the blood and energy flows better around your sealed pressure points, I will be able to open them up. But since Tianbo Guang will definitely turn back, we might not be so lucky again. I'd say let's just take our chances and hide inside the cave.'" At these words, Mr. Wen, He Sanchi, and Liu Chengfeng all clapped their hands. "Excellent, brave, yet smart," Mr. Wen praised. Yilin went on, "I was scared to go back to the cave, but I already had great confidence in and admiration for Big Brother Linghu. If he said so, then it must be a good idea. So I said, okay." He picked me up again and rushed into the cave. After he put me down on the ground, I said, "I have heavenly connecting glue in my pocket. It is a miraculous medicine for sealing wounds. Please take it out and use it on your wounds." "It's not a good time to take it out," he objected. "I'll wait till you can move your hands and legs again. Then you can give it to me." He drew his sword and cut off a section of his sleeve to wrap the wound on his left shoulder. I finally understood that when we were hiding in the grasses, in order to protect me when Tianbo Guang cut his shoulder, he didn't move at all and didn't let out any sound. And in the darkness, Tianbo Guang didn't notice it. I felt so sorry for him. I didn't know why it was not a good time to take the medicine out. "So, as you have said, Ling Huchong is actually a gentleman?" Ling Yi let out a snort. Yilin looked at her master, her bright eyes filled with surprise. "Of course Big Brother Linghu is a first-class gentleman. I didn't even know him, and he stood up and rescued me, risking his own life," she said. Yu Kanghai said coldly, "You did not know him, but he probably had seen you before. Otherwise, how could he have such a kind heart?" He was implying that Ling Huchong acted bravely because of her extreme beauty. No, he said he never had met me before. Big Brother Linghu never lies to me. He never does," Yilin rebutted. I'm starting to think she has some feelings." These words were spoken with such assurance that although her voice was still gentle, the meaning was very resolute and decisive. All the people in the hall were moved by her pure confidence and all truly believed her. Yu Kanghai thought, that rascal Ling Huchong was always reckless in a crazy way. If he didn't act so fearlessly for beauty, then it must have been for fame. He wanted to gain fame by fighting Tianbo Guang. Yilin continued, "After wrapping his wound, Big Brother Linghu continued massaging the pressure points on my shoulder and my back. Soon we heard the chopping and slashing noises coming closer and closer. Tianbo Guang had slashed his way to the opening of the cave. My heart thumped so hard. Tianbo Guang came into the cave and sat down on the ground silently. I held my breath and didn't even dare to breathe. Suddenly, a great pain came from my shoulder. It came so unexpected that I couldn't help groaning. That spoiled the whole thing. Tianbo Guang laughed loudly and walked toward me with big steps. Big Brother Linghu just squatted by the side and did not move. "Little lamb, you are still hiding in the cave, huh?" Tianbo Guang said with a smile. He stuck his hand out to grab me. I heard the sound of a sword thrust. and then I found that big brother Ling Hu had stabbed at Tian Bo Guang. Wait, that's not a sword. Alejandro says, I'm drunk and here. What is up? I fully endorse that. Fuzzy Static, what is up? 43 minutes late. It's okay, you're just in time. Titus says, guys, I got really good at making corn muffins. Okay. Can you send some my way? Pudding Pot Pie, what is up? Dun, dun, dun. Tian Bo Guang was startled and dropped the broken sword, but the thrust didn't hit his vital parts. What a pity! Tian Bo Guang jumped back in a hurry, pulled out the knife by his waist, and began to swing it at big brother Ling Hu. The knife and the sword hit each other with a clang. The two started fighting. In the dark, neither of them could see. After a couple of clangs, both of them jumped backward. All I could hear was the sound of their breathing. I was scared to death. How many rounds did Ling Hu Chong fight him? Priest Tianmen interrupted. I was scared senseless at the time and didn't notice how long they had fought, Yilin answered. I heard Tian Bo Guang laughing and saying, Ha, you are from the Huashang Sword School. The Huashang Sword Art is no match for my skills. What's your name? Big brother Ling Hu said, 5 Mountain Sword Alliance. Same route, different branches. Either Huashang Sword School or Hangshang Sword School, we are all after you, evil rapist. Before he could finish his words, Tian Bo Guang had already started his attack. It turned out that he tricked Big Brother Ling Hu into talking in order to find out where he was. After several more rounds, Big Brother Ling Hu let out a cry of pain. He was wounded again. Tian Bo Guang laughed. I told you, Huashang Sword Art is no match for my skills. Even if your master Yue had come himself, he'd lose too. But Big Brother Ling Hu did not answer him again. Earlier, when I had a great pain on my shoulder, it turned out it was because the pressure points on my shoulder opened up by themselves. I felt some more pain on my back. Those points were opening up too. I slowly struggled up while moving my hands around, looking for the broken sword. Big Brother Ling Hu heard the sound and said happily, Your pressure points are open now. Run away! Hurry up! Apprentice brother of the Huashang Sword School, let's fight the villain together, I declared. You run away! Hurry up! We will still be no match for him, even if we fight him together, he demanded. Tian Bo Guang laughed. Glad you know that. Why waste your life over something for no reason? Hey, I really like your courage. What's your name? If you had asked for my respectful name nicely, I would tell you. But since you asked your old man so rudely, he won't pay any heed to you. Big Brother Ling Hu answered. Master, don't you think that was funny? Big Brother Ling Hu wasn't his father, but called himself his old man. That was just a rude word. It doesn't really mean his old man, Ding Yi cried out, let out a disgruntled snort as she explained. Ah, I see. Big Brother Ling Hu then said, Apprentice sister, you can run to the town of Hangshang. We have lots of friends there. I am sure this villain wouldn't dare to go there looking for you. What if he kills you? I asked. He is not good enough to kill me, Big Brother Ling Hu yelled. I will tie him up here. Why are you still here? Run! Ouch! With 2 metallic sounds made by their weapons hitting each other. Big Brother Ling Hu was wounded once more. He got mad and started yelling at me. If you don't leave right now, I am going to start cursing you. By then I had already found the broken sword on the ground, so I shouted, Let's fight him, 2-1. Nothing could be better. Tian Bo Guang, 1 man and 1 knife, here to fight both the Huashang Sword School and the Hangshang Sword School. Tian Bo Guang laughed loudly. Big Brother Ling Hu started to scold me. He yelled, You foolish little nun! You are an idiot! Go away! If you don't go away, next time I see you, I'll slap you. Tian Bo Guang laughed. This little nun doesn't want to part with me. This little nun doesn't want to part with me. She won't go. Big brother Linghu got really mad. He shouted, "Are you leaving or not?" I said, "No way." Big brother Linghu then said, "If you don't leave now, I am going to call your master names. Ding Qiang, you idiotic old nun. Look how you've taught such an idiotic little nun." "Uncle Master Ding Qiang is not my master," I explained. "Fine, then I'll call Sister Ding Jing names," he said. Uncle Master Ding Jing is not my master either," I said. "Bah, you're still not leaving. I'll call Ding Yi an old idiot." Ding Yi made a sour face and looked very displeased. "Master, please don't be angry," Yilin said hurriedly. "Big brother Linghu meant well for me. He didn't really want to call you anything." I said, "I am foolish by myself. It wasn't taught by my master." Suddenly, Tian Bo Guang jumped forth at me and poked his finger at me. I waved my sword wildly in the darkness and forced him back. Big brother Linghu shouted, "I have a whole bunch of dirty words that I am going to use on your master now. Aren't you afraid?" "Don't call any more names. Let's run away together," I said. "Your standing beside me is already blocking my moves," Big brother Linghu shouted. "I can't use my best Huashan sword moves. Once you get out, then I can kill this villain with ease." Tian Bo Guang laughed hard and said, "You've really got some affection for this little nun. Too bad that she doesn't even know your name." I thought these words from the villain were quite right. So I asked, "Apprentice brother of the Huashan Sword School, what's your name? I will tell my master when I go to Hangshang and tell her that you saved my life." Big brother Linghu said, "Go away. Hurry up. You are too wordy. My name is Lao de Noix." Hearing his own name mentioned, Lao de Noix was stunned. Why did Big Apprentice brother go under my name? He thought aloud, feeling utterly confused. "This Linghu Chong does kind things and walks away from the fame. That is one true characteristic of we chivalrous people." Mr. Wan nodded and murmured to himself. Sister Ding Yi glanced at Lao de Noix and murmured, "This Linghu Chong was so rude and even dared call me names. He was probably afraid that I would go after him because of that. So he wanted to pin the blame on somebody else." "Hey, so you're the one who called me an idiot?" She glared at Lao de Noix. Lao de Noix bowed hurriedly. No, I dare not." "Sister Ding Yi," Lu Jiangfeng cut in with a smile. "Linghu Chong had his reasons for using his apprentice brother Lao de Noix's name. This nephew apprentice Lao joined Huashang Sword School with his previously learned skills. Although his seniority is low, his age is not. With a great bush of beard, he could pass for Yilin's grandfather." Ding Yi immediately understood that Linghu Chong did so to protect Yilin's reputation. At that time, it was totally dark in the cave. No one could recognize anyone else, even when face to face. If Yilin got away and mentioned that it was Lao de Noix of Huashan Sword School who saved her, no one would think up snide comments to defame her with such an old man. This not only protected Yilin's reputation, but also protected the reputation of the Hangshang Sword School. When she thought of this, she could not help letting a little smile creep to her face. This lad really is thoughtful," she nodded. "Yilin, what happened after that?" Yilin answered, "By then, I still didn't want to leave. I said, 'Big brother Lao, you got yourself into danger all because of me. How can I leave you in danger? If my master learned that I was such a coward and didn't care about fellow apprentices, she would kill me herself. Master always taught us that although we are all females in the Hangshang Sword School, with regard to chivalry, we are never bettered by any man.'" "Excellent! You said it right," Ding Yi applauded and shouted out. "For we kung fu practitioners, whoever does not exercise chivalry is better dead than alive. No matter man or woman, it's all the same." Seeing the solemn expression on her face when she said these words, everyone could see that the spirit of the old nun was really no less than that of any man. Yilin continued, "But then Big Brother Linghu began to scold me profusely." "You darn idiotic little nun," he said. "All you do is talk and talk and talk, and stop me from being able to use my unbeatable Huashang sword art. My old life is destined to be lost in Tian Bo Guang's hands. So you're in league with Tang Bo Guang and purposely set me up. I, Lao De Noir, am so unlucky today, seeing a nun right after I start on my trip. And it is a rotten little nun. It is a rotten little nun that will have no son, no grandson, no nothing. Even with the super strong and super powerful magical sword arts I know, I am unable to use them because I fear that the energy of my sword strikes would hurt the little nun's life. Alright, very well, Tian Bo Guang, just give me a good chop and let's finish it off. This old man will just have to go to his fate today. All Ling Huchang's dirty words, told in Yilin's sweet and gentle voice, brought inadvertent smiles of amusement to the lips of the listeners. Then Yilin said, after hearing these words, I realized I couldn't do him any good because my kung fu skills were so poor, and my staying in the cave would block his way and prevent him from using his magical Huashang sword art. He was just bragging. His Huashang sword art is just average. What makes it so invincible in the martial world? Ding Yi snorted. Master, he was just trying to scare off Tian Bo Guang, Yilin said. Hearing more and more abuses coming out of his mouth, I said unwillingly, Big brother Liao, I am leaving. Hope to see you later. Get lost, you smelly rotten duck egg. Ah, there's our insult. Losh says, Yilin is so pure. Yeah, I know, right? It's like she's been in a nunnery all her life and has never been out before. So we have three insults. Son of a turtle, rotten duck egg. And what was the other one? What was the other one? I forgot. Come on, chat. I'm scrolling up. There was another insult. Bull nose. Thank you, Hannah. Thank you, Yuhin-san. Bull nose. We got 3 insults. Get lost, you smelly rotten duck egg, he scolded. The further you get lost, the better. Once a man sees a nun, he loses all his bets. I didn't see you before. Oh, wait, what? I think the quotes are in different places. Let's try that again. Get lost, you smelly rotten duck egg, he scolded. The further you get lost, the better. Once a man sees a nun, he loses all his bets. I didn't see you before, and I will never see you again. Gambling is my favorite hobby. Why would I ever want to see you again? Hearing this, Ding Yi could not contain her anger. She stood up and yelled in a stern voice, That scum! Did you leave? I was afraid to make him even angrier, so I left, Yilin said. Once I stepped out of the cave, I heard the clash of weapons getting more and more intense. I figured that if the villain Tian Bo Guang won, he would be after me again. If the big brother Lao won, after he came out and saw me outside the cave, he would lose all his bets because of me. So I clenched my teeth and ran as fast as I could to catch up with you, respectful master. Then I could ask you to help fight the villain Tian Bo Guang. Ding Yi hummed and nodded. Master, Big Brother Ling Hu later lost his life. Was that because of seeing me and getting bad luck? Yilin asked out of the blue. Drop that once a man sees a nun, he loses all his bets nonsense, Ding Yi said angrily. How could you have believed that? There are so many people here that have seen us. Do all of them have bad luck now? People in the hall bit their lips to keep from commenting on her question. Yes, master, Yilin answered. I ran till dawn and saw the town gates of Hengyang in the horizon. I calmed down a little and thought that I could probably find my master in Hengyang. But who'd expect that right at that moment, Tian Bo Guang caught up with me. As soon as I saw him, my legs went weak, and just after several steps, he caught me again. I thought that since he had chased me here, Big Brother Lao must have been murdered in the cave. I felt indescribable sadness. With so many people on the streets, Tianbo Guang didn't dare to be rude to me. He just said, "If you follow me without making any trouble, I won't do anything bad to you. If you don't listen to me, then I will tear off your clothes right away and let all these people on the streets laugh at you." I was very scared and dared not fight back, I was very scared and dared not fight back, just followed him into the town. When we arrived at the Huiyan wine house, he said, "Little sister, you have the type of natural beauty that will attract even the wild geese to land. This Huiyan wine house must have been opened just for you. Let's go in and have a drink and some fun." Let's look at this reference, number 5. In Chinese, Huiyan means attracting the wild geese back. Gotcha. I said, "We Buddhists don't eat flesh or drink alcohol. This is the rule of our White Cloud nunnery." He said, "I am sure you have lots of rules in your White Cloud nunnery. Are you really going to follow all of them? Later I will teach you how to break some more rules. Rules and regulations are all bogus. Your master." At these words, she gave Ding Yi a sneaky glance and dared not to continue. "You don't need to mention the nonsense this villain spouted. Just say what happened next," Ding Yi instructed. She has a very good memory, by the way. She remembers exactly what they said. "Yes, master." Then I said, "You are talking nonsense. My master would never hide in secret places to drink wine and eat dog meat." The people in the hall simply could not help but laugh. Yulin did not repeat the words of Tianbo Guang, yet from her own words, everyone knew that Tianbo Guang must have said what Tianbo Guang must have said about Ding Yi. Ding Yi made a sour face and thought, "This child is too honest. She doesn't know what to say and what not to." Yulin continued, "The villain grabbed my collar and threatened, if you don't go up to the wine house and drink with me, I'll tear off your clothes." I had no choice but to go up to the wine house with him. The villain ordered some wine and dishes. He was really mean. I told him that I couldn't eat flesh, yet he intentionally ordered dishes of beef, pork, poultry, and fish. He threatened that if I didn't eat, he would tear off my clothes. Master, I simply refused to eat those dishes. Buddhists are restricted from eating flesh. I couldn't violate the prohibition. If the villain wanted to tear off my clothes because of that, then fine, but it wouldn't be my fault. Right at that moment, a man walked up to the wine house. He had a sword hanging by his waist. His face was pale, and his clothes were blood-stained. He sat by our table in silence, picked up the bowl of wine in front of me, and poured all of it down his throat in a single gulp. He poured himself another bowl of wine and raised the bowl toward Tianbo Guang. "Please," he said. He turned to me and said, "Please." Then he drank that bowl as well. Ooh, it's 6:40. All right. I think another break is in order. Hey, Speedy Dragon, what's going on? Nice of you to join. Speedy Dragon is my in real life friend. Hi. Hello. Evan Nation Army says, "I can't remember that much of what anyone says." Yeah, me neither. I don't remember what I had for breakfast, actually. Torvok says, "We really like to vote no pants and no music." All right. All right. Let's do a vote. Should I wear pants or should I not wear pants? No. All right, be right back, guys. 3 more minutes, a 3-minute break. Yeah. My friends and family don't watch my videos, guys. Come on. Actually, I think my mom watches a couple of videos. Yeah. She sometimes so she doesn't really know how to she's not really good at the iPad stuff. So sometimes she would just type in mistakenly type in little things like L or H or something. I was like, it's you, mom. I know. I know. You're watching. Skip 2 pairs of pants and do 2 pairs of boxers. I don't know. That's weird. Gabriel says last week's Chinese music was rap. I thought that this week's Chinese music would be country. What's the equivalent to country music in Chinese? Like folk music? No. I don't know. I'll look it up. Oravas says, I watch all the videos. Well, thank you. Thank you. You make up for my friends and family. Evan Nation Army says, this story is pretty good. I think so. This story is like... We should start the chapters with that. All right, back to live screen. Where were we? All right, so recap. She runs away and then she goes to this town, Hangshang, and she is captured by Tian Boguang again, and she's taken to the wine house. And then this guy comes up and sees them and drinks their wine. I think we know who this guy is. As soon as I heard his voice, I felt very surprised and very happy. It turned out he was Big Brother Lao, who had saved me in the cave. Thank the Buddha, he escaped from Tian Boguang's murdering hands, but he had bloodstains all over him. In order to rescue me, he had really been badly wounded. Tian Boguang looked at him from head to toe and back again. It's you. It's me, he replied. Tian Boguang raised his thumb to him and praised him. Good man. He raised his thumb and replied, good knife skills. The two both began to laugh loudly and drank bowls of wine at the same time. I was quite surprised. They had fought so fiercely last night. Why have they suddenly become friends now? I was very pleased to know that this man did not die, but since he was a friend of Tian Boguang, the villain, I became worried again. You are not Lao De Noir, Tian Boguang protested. Lao De Noir is a dried-up old geezer. He can't be as young and carefree as you. I sneaked a glance at him. He was only in his 20s, so last night when he said, this old man has lived such a long life, he was really fooling Tian Boguang. I am not Lao De Noir, the man admitted with a smile. Tian Boguang struck the table with his palm. Yeah, you are Huashang Linghu Chong. You're a somebody in the martial world. Big Brother Linghu admitted again. You really flatter me. Linghu Chong is only your defeated opponent. This is very embarrassing, he said. No fight, no acquaintance, Tian Boguang grinned. Why don't we be friends? If Brother Linghu likes this pretty little nun, I'll just let you have her. I am not the kind who values chicks above friendships. Bros over hoes is what he's saying. Ding Yu's face turned dark, but she only murmured, that evil rapist, that evil rapist. Yilin almost began to cry again. Master, Big Brother Ling Hu suddenly started scolding me again. This little nun has no color in her face, he said. All she eats every day are vegetables and bean curds. Her face can't look that good. Brother Tian, I get real riled when I see nuns. I really wish I could exterminate all the nuns in the world. Why? Tian Boguang asked while laughing. To tell you the truth, I have a small hobby. Gambling, Big Brother Ling Hu said. Gambling is my life. Every time I see some dice, I'd forget my own name. But as soon as I see a nun, I can just forget about gambling for the rest of the day. No matter what I bet on or gamble on, I will assuredly lose. This happens every single time. And it happens not only to me, but also to all my fellow apprentices of the Huashang Sword School. So every time when we apprentices of the Huashang Sword School see uncle masters and apprentice sisters from the Hangshang Sword School, although everyone looks very respectful on the outside, we all curse the bad luck inside. Ding Yi simply could not stand this anymore. She turned her hand and gave Lao Dunhua a resounding slap to the face. The move was fast and accurate. Lao Dunhua had no chance of dodging. He just felt great dizziness and almost fell to the ground. That was messed up. Why would she do that? We're done. We're done. Not bad. Hey, not drinking a shot does really great things for my voice. What did you guys think of that chapter? Amanda says, after almost killing each other, you must praise each other. That's right. That's what happens. Nikki says, American folk music turned into country. Is that? Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I guess. Amanda says, we need a slap sound effect. All right. I think this is a tradition now. After each stream, I drink one of these. Let me change the camera. Hey! Yeah, this chapter is pretty cool. We're introduced to Ling Hu Chong, the eldest brother of the Huashang Sword School, and he's a pretty cool guy. He's like a carefree guy, a drinker, a big drinker, and a big gambler. So who couldn't love him, right? Yeah. Let's see if I can do some ASMR. Can you guys see? Alright, I didn't spill it this time. Thank God. Cheers! Cheers! Ah, good stuff. Yes, Alejandro, take a shot. Take a shot with me. I did pretty well today. I did not make a mistake. I remembered to change the camera view. Nikki says Lin family. I like that. Should we be Lin family or House Linfamy? What are our house words? It's right now 7 o'clock for me. I'm in California, the best state in the world. All right, guys. I think we're done. Yuventown says, hey, Linfamy, please do a video on Bushido. I will do that. I went, but I do have that on my to-do list. The Kamakura period is coming soon, maybe next week. I don't know. But yeah, Kamakura period may be a good time to do something about Bushido. So we'll see. Evan Nation Army says North Carolina is the best state. You know what? You're allowed to be wrong. That's fine. That's fine. But we all know that California is the best state. Alejandro, Florida, come on. Like only one part of Florida is good. The Miami part, the southern part. I don't know about the rest. I don't. Maybe Orlando, but I don't know about the rest. House Linfamy. Boba is coming. I like it.